Come on, boys and girls. Today we will show you in this quick and short tutorial on how to, be a PNF ace, of course. First, you always get your patrolman out. What? You always need to get your protective aircraft out because you never know what may happen. We now go in. Oh! Yes, sirree. So far is quite the battle. First patrolmen are going up right now. Second, strike. The Kaiso. You always want to use your good old Avenger, buddies. And why not another one at that? Yes, sirree, this is secret footage given to you by the National Guard and by the USN to show you how you can win against all odds on any Japanese attack. Alright. Now we look in to the current battle. Ooh, quite a tough one at that. But what's this? The Japanese fighter in the area, harassing our glorious battleships. Well, now we engage. He goes in for a ram, the desperate Jap, and yet he dies. What's this? It is an all-out war, it looks like. Bombers heading in and what? Trying to kill our glorious carriers and our defense. And those zeros, no less. You always want to lead your shots, giving you a better chance at killing the enemy instead of shooting straight at them. As you see here, our brave Hellcat will stop these, As you see here, he has clearly stopped all the zeros from dropping the bombs. Nothing to see here. Meanwhile, D4Y duties come in. Now you see, in the case of your battleships being hit by a bomb, it is always best to scramble your fighters at all costs. Yes, and now we look at the Avenger. Quite a glorious airplane at that. Now it meets up with its squadron. As you see, when playing as an Avenger, you always want to stay with your squadron. It is very crucial, as forming up a combat box will allow you more and better defensive capabilities. As you see, they now dive into action, trying to attack the USS Kaiso. Not USS Kaiso, but the IJN Kaiso, yes. As you see, the Kaiso's already taken quite the beating, let alone all the torpedoes that's going to be coming its way. This is it. The Kaiso has been beaten up by all the torpedoes. And now, your torpedo comes into play. Just look at those hits. Now, we switch back over. Now, your carriers will always be refueling. This, basically, means that they will be, well, of course, refueling. See, carriers take time to launch airplanes. It's not always easy. Meanwhile, let's look at this chap firing all of his machine guns. What? And these Kates trying to take off. As you see, our brave men in the air are making sure the skies are clear of any sort of enemies. Now, we go over back to the Wasp to protect it. You see, now we take a look at our very elite fighting force of Corsairs. However, now the poor carrier has to refuel as he's launching all of these fighters. In the meantime, let's look at a few chaps who are successfully defending their country and what's right. What? And another one bites the dust. Yes. And now we take a look at the Grand USS Essex. In the grand attack against an aircraft carrier of the IJN, Zukaku will be their target. With bombers and escorts and all, this will be it. Meanwhile, what's this? IJN bombers on the scene. B5N2 Kates as well. You see, when always dogfighting, you always want to keep steady and calm. Always attack them from the side and try and get in their blind spots. As you see here, done perfectly by this handsome chap. Sadly, the flak is just too much. Let's take a look at a few other fighters in the area. Oh, quite the ram, I see. So far, it is quite the battle of both sides taking major hits. This may or may not be easy. Let's check in on those Corsair chaps while we're at it. No, not these guys, though they are serving their country. Ah, yes, the good old Corsairs, doing their job, protecting what is right. The aces of the sky, the bent-winged bird, as they'd say. The Zero's worst nightmare. However, now we go into Lunch 1. A lunch squadron, you may say. Yes, sirree, the most American thing you can think of. A lunch squadron. Now they dive in, preparing to attack. This will be it, the grand assault. The assault that will determine victory. Carrying 4 500-pound bombs. If they can kill this carrier, they will have a chance on victory. Now the Avenger goes in for the kill. However, the Americans are now in IJN territory, and flak is going to be pretty hard. So, they fly straight and drop all of the bombs, thus causing a major distraction. Meanwhile, the Corsair squad goes in, attacking all who dare, such as B5N Kates. Yes. It's an absolute massacre, I may hear some of you saying. Yes, that is the Pacific War. There we see this B5N2 Kate sadly get demolished. Or not sadly, gratefully get demolished. Yes. As you see, the Corsair is now patrolling the skies, making sure that no bombers get past him. If bombers get past him, they'll go to the carrier and cause major damage. Now he does a bunch of barrel rolls. This is mainly because our stinking cameraman. Alright. This is it. The Grande Assault. The assault that will determine victory or high loss. This brave chap over here attacks this carrier, which is low on health, and now decides to finish it off. However, B5N2 Kates enter the mix, And the Corsair, knowing its job, now goes into attack. And just like that, another IJN plan foiled by the ever-so-mighty F4U Corsair. Now it goes back to strafe run. However, a few Zeros decide to intervene, though, of course, they are not successful. Now, let's look back on the Essex. Or let's look at the Wasp. The Wasp, look at her. Though she's on critical health, she can still manage, just proving the might of American aircraft carriers. However, just to be sure, we will use Avengers from the Essex class and a few bombers. Meanwhile, this brave little Corsair over here keeps strafe running the poor sap of the battleship, trying to escape the coward. It's trying to launch some planes before it makes its daring escape, which won't be as daring when the Corsair comes in to intervene. Sadly, this plan is also foiled by the ever-so-elegant Corsair. And just like that, another B5N2K is destroyed. Now the Corsair comes in to finish off the Unryu, trying to go. Sadly, the Unryu's escape plans may have to wait. As is, the Corsair will now finish it off in a glorious strafe run. This is it. The carrier is down to its last breath, and the Corsair now goes in to finish it off, ending its misery. And just like that, the carrier is dead. However, this next carrier launches in a few Zeros in hopes of getting some bombs off. How very doubtful. However, sadly, AAA opens up, but the Corsair is too resilient for all this petty games. In fact, it is so great at its job that it rams the thing. However, now look at the Hercules squad. Yes, sirree, mighty as an ox. They now go in, plan for their great attack. But what's this? A few Zeros coming to try and foil them. Nothing to worry. Escorts will take care of them. In the meantime, the squadron of brave soldiers now engage the enemy. They know what lies ahead and are not afraid to what happens, so long as they serve their country. Look at that squadron. Glorious. Now they go into strike. They go in on the battleship, prepared to attack the enemy. Guns are opening up like crazy. Meanwhile, the escorts try and do their job of escorting, but the torpedoes are away. The Avengers are doing their job alright, dropping bombs and destroying the battleship. Yes, sirree. This battleship, for example, is very, very weakened and cannot go possibly any further. And if it does, then we'll just have our boys deal with that. Meanwhile, this Avenger goes in for its own strike, hoping to attack the Kaga-class ship. The Kaga is one of the heavier battleships. However, the flak is too much, and sadly, one of them goes down. However, a D4Y Judy chases an Avenger, but our brave Hellcat trumps its attempt. They prepare to attack the Kaga, which is their goal. Now that they have weakened and scrambled the Japanese fleet, they can now go in on the Kaga and efficiently take it out. The Essex, of course, is leading this charge by making tons of Avenger squadrons. However, even the Essex is out of Avengers. Now it goes over to the next carrier. It goes in with torpedoes, Hellcats, and much more. This is it. The grand attack of the Kaga. Many of the American battleships sadly have to retreat as their damage is too great. But this one in particular goes in anyways, even though he's on fire. For he doesn't care, so long as the torpedo hits. Sadly, his action had very, very bad repercussion. Meanwhile, one of the planes break out of formation and prepares to attack a battleship which has been causing quite the troubles lately. It still has 2 500-pound bombs left. We'll put them to good use. He readies up, and he drops the bombs gloriously, quickly pulling off. Meanwhile, the Razor Squadron prepares to attack the Kaga. As now they all form up in formation, the Grand Assault begins, with many squadrons from many carriers readying up for this moment. This was what they were born to do. This was their duty, to protect the United States. They have attacked Pearl Harbor. Now, it's the Americans' turn to make things right. This will be it. The ultimate attack. This will determine victory or loss. Now, the Hagi is sinking, one of the many Japanese battle cruisers. Now the formation begins. Combat boxes are being formed, and machine guns are opening up. The last of the Avenger takes up in formation. The Kaga is in eyesight. The strike on the Kaga begins. Many other planes from the other squadron also come in to help. As you see there, one of the squadrons are already going in to engage. The Japanese know this and must stop them at all costs, so Zeros move in. However, they cannot stop the American might. They try to scramble their enemy fighters over to try and defeat the Avenger Squadron. Some of them, sadly, are very successful in taking out the squadrons and driving them away. As we can see there, the Punch Squadron sadly got overran and must make it a retreat. Meanwhile, the attack begins. The Kaga is taking major hits. This is it. They now pull away quickly. This is it. This was the attack. The attack to alter this war that is currently going on. The Kaga is taking many hits. Now it tries to escape. However, the last torpedo hits it. And success is present. Now the remaining Avengers decide to return back to base. Sadly, some of them are critically damaged and may not make it. However, in the end, the Americans have won. This has been old archive footage found out. Yes, sirree. See you guys later on the next archive footage.